So you're on YouTube looking for self-care ideas, and let me guess, you are exhausted, you're overwhelmed, and you are absolutely frustrated. Because so far, all of the advice that you found involves buying candles or creating a 10-step skincare routine or reading in the bathtub. Who is taking their devices into the bathtub? If I took my phone or my Kindle into a bubble bath, that thing would be dead in 10 minutes because I would absolutely drop it in the water. And if you're reading a paper book, you're just going to destroy it with steam and water and bubbles. Who are these people? Anyway, who has the time, energy, or money for all of that? Certainly not me. And if you ended up here, probably not you either. Today, we're tackling real self-care. Mini tasks that don't require spending money or accumulating stuff or exhausting yourself even further than you already are. So go find where you left your drink earlier and let's get to getting. Self-care is not supposed to be a huge made for TikTok production. It's just about meeting your needs and giving yourself a moment to recharge. That's it. No bubble baths required. As I go through this list, I will be including adjustments that you can make if you have mobility issues or a chronic illness that makes movement tricky. I'm also going to sprinkle in some ADHD tips because I myself am neurospicy and I like to share the way I do things. Tip number 1 is to hydrate. But make it lazy. Look, I am never going to tell you to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every day. First of all, I can't do the math that well. And second, who is actually tracking this outside of productivity bros on the internet? I will, however, ask you to take 3 sips of water right now. Just 3. That's it. Just remind your taste buds what water is without magic bean juice added. That sounded super weird. But you know what I mean. Coffee and tea are wonderful, but you gotta mix in some plain old water once in a while. Sometimes that headache is because you're dehydrated. I know you don't want to hear it, but that doesn't make it less true. For folks with ADHD, it really helps to keep a water bottle in some place that you literally can't miss it, where when you move your hand, you're knocking your hand into it kind of thing. Because to be completely honest, most of the cups that I have laying around my desk are either old or filled with things that are not water. So I need to have one within reach all the time, preferably with fresh water in it. And for my spoonies, again, try to keep water with you as often as possible. If 3 sips is too much, try taking just 1 sip. Use a straw if that's something that's easier for you. And while I am personally on a no spend, maybe get yourself one of those sweet, loopy straws. What do they call them? Bendy straws. Get one of those big bendy straws and make drinking water fun if you're able to use that kind of straw. Tip number 2 is to give yourself a little stretch. You don't need to put on your yoga clothes or roll out your mat. I'm talking just little stretches. I'm talking like rolling your shoulders or stretching out your neck. I know I've talked before. I think my ADHD lives right in here and just likes to tug on the nerve endings and drive me crazy. If you have mobility issues, do what you can with the energy and movement you have available to you. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll your ankles, just any tiny bit of movement that you're able to do that will work kinks out of your body. Just little things. Did you hear my wrist crack? And for my ADHD folks, set a timer. Remind yourself to get up once in a while. Have your phone set to play the Yo Gabba Gabba song, Get the Wiggles Out. Anything that's going to get you to stand up and move your body just for a second, because we do tend to bed rot or get so immersed in a project on our computers that we're sitting little folded up in on ourselves goblins because nobody ever taught us how to sit in a chair. I am not the only one. Tip number 3 would be to take some deep breaths. And I know, every self-care list has breathing exercises, but that's because they work. For me, I do box breathing, where you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold it for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, and you hold that for a count of 4. For me, that is simple to do. I can do it anywhere I am, and it really does relax and reset some things in my body to just focus on my breathing for a minute. And because I have ADHD, sometimes I like to pair this with things I'm already doing already. So I will get up in the morning and I will box breathe first thing in the morning while I'm pouring my cup of coffee. Habit stacking is a very powerful, especially for those of us that are neurospicy. So maybe try adding a couple deep breathing sessions to things that you already do throughout the day and just see if it makes you feel better. For spoonies, you can absolutely do this while you're laying down if that's easier for you. If you want to try box breathing, try 1 second at a time, 2 count at a time, whatever works for you. But as much as you can, try to get some fresh air into your body. And those were kind of like self-care for your body type things. Now let's take just a second to go through some things you can do that would be self-care for your mental space. Number 1 would be to do a brain dump. This is so simple. You just grab any piece of paper. It can be a notebook from the notebook graveyard. It can be a scratch pad from a hotel. I don't care. Just any piece of paper, and just vomit out every thought that's in your head onto a piece of paper. Every conversation you're worried about having, every appointment that you know is coming up, everything that is just cluttering up in there, get it on a piece of paper. You don't have to organize it right now. It doesn't have to be in a list form. It can just be scribbles, okay? It's just getting it out of your head. And later, when you have the energy, you can go through it and organize it if you want to. You can look at the things that are actually important and throw away the things that are just clutter in your head. Another thing you can do is to do just a 2-minute tidy of your physical space. And yes, this does actually have mental benefits, because when our living space is cluttered and chaotic, our brains are cluttered and chaotic. Even if we don't realize we're seeing it, our subconscious is taking note of everything, and it can make us feel really off balance when we have just, shit everywhere. And I do mean 2 minutes. Set a timer. Timers are ADHD peeps' best friends, let me tell you what. But I'm just talking, clear the table next to you, clear off a counter, wipe down the kitchen table. Just a 2-minute something that will get you in a more clear-headed space, because you're not cluttering up your mind with physical clutter. And the last one, when's the last time you daydreamed? When's the last time you sat down and just let your mind wander? Now, I'm an author and I do that all the time. I have ADHD and I do that all the time, very much not related to my books. But letting your mind stretch, using your imagination, daydreaming, not doom scrolling, not worrying, daydreaming. Imagine something that makes you happy. Imagine what it would be like to win the lottery. Imagine what it would be like to go on that dream vacation. Let your imagination go. Daydreaming is so important. And it's something that, I don't know, somebody told us we should grow out of it, and a lot of you stopped doing. I never stopped doing it. Daydreaming is one of my favorite things. And then just a couple things that would be probably self-care for your soul. Do a gratitude check. Just take 30 seconds to run down a list of all the things that you're grateful for. These don't have to be big things. In fact, they should probably be small things. They should be like, man, this cup of coffee is so good. Or, oh my goodness, I love my Furby mug so much. I am so glad that I have this mug, because every time I look at it, it makes me smile. Gratitude is like a reset button for your mood. Reminding yourself of all the things that you're grateful for can have a huge impact on the way that you feel in a moment about your life, just in general. Gratitude is so important, and it is way more than a motivational poster. Another thing that's going to boost your mood and feed your soul is to get out in nature. And I get it. I am not one for nature. You're probably never going to find me on a hike unless by some miracle I were to get into the Barkley Marathon. If you don't know what that is, you're probably not a runner, and you won't care. But just step out into your driveway, close your eyes, and listen to the birds. Open a window and let the fresh air wash over you. If you are not in a space that is safe to go outside, if you are unable to leave your home, I am not kidding you, pulling up a YouTube video and fully immersing yourself in the sights and sounds of nature, even through blue light, will make a huge difference in your mood. We all have to work with what we have, and if all you have is nature on television, let yourself enjoy that. Another thing that is underrated but important, reach out to someone, a real someone. I am always here for you, and I am honestly all about parasocial relationships because I don't really leave my house. But texting a friend, calling a loved one, meeting someone for coffee, or letting them come into your home to sit with you for a while. Humans are social creatures as much as I fight against that nature. I am not an overly physically affectionate person. But sometimes when my husband hugs me, it sets my world to rights. When I hear from a friend that I haven't heard from in a long time, everything in me lights up like a pinball machine. And yes, personalities vary, but as a species, we are social creatures, and reaching out to a human being that you actually know and is not just your bestie on the internet will make a huge amount of difference for your mood. And finally, allow yourself to rest without guilt. Listen, I am not a productivity dude. I will never tell you that you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning if you want to be the best version of yourself, because that's bullshit. However, I am a morning person, and I am generally out of bed before 6 a.m. every morning. But I've been trying something new on Friday nights, and I do not set my alarm anymore. I'm allowing myself the opportunity to sleep in on a Saturday morning. This doesn't always work because my body is so used to being awake at 5:30 in the morning or earlier sometimes. I mean, I got ADHD sleep problems too, so that's a whole different story. But giving myself permission to sleep in on a Saturday morning has been a freaking game changer. I am releasing the stress from myself of having to be go, go, go all the time. We require rest. Those of us with neurospicy brains or mobility issues or chronic pain require it even more. And beating ourselves up for taking the rest that we need does not serve us. It does not help us. And it's eating away at the little energy we do have. So one of the most important things you can do for your self-care journey is to allow yourself to rest with no guilt and no judgment, and try not to plan what you're going to do when you do finally get up again. Just give yourself a freaking minute. It's okay. Sorry, it really bothers me. Probably because I've spent so many years not allowing myself to rest. As an entrepreneur, I do feel as if I have to be go, go, go all the time. And I'm really trying to implement this rest without guilt thing for myself. And lately I've learned that if I really want to learn a lesson, I have to teach that lesson to someone else. So a lot of these videos have turned into therapy for me. So I really appreciate you and our parasocial relationship very much. So like I said in the beginning, self-care does not have to be a big production. It shouldn't be a big production. Making self-care a difficult thing to obtain makes people not want to try at all. You have to focus on the little things that make you feel better. And the smaller they are, the more you can do throughout the day. So you can have tiny little hits of self-care all day long. And when it comes time to go to bed, you are not an exhausted zombie anymore because you've taken those little tiny chunks of time to do something nice for yourself throughout the day. So self-care is incredibly important, and it should not be difficult. It should just be about showing up for yourself one tiny thing at a time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that this video resonated with you and that you got some ideas to take maybe just a little better care of yourself. Don't forget to smash all those YouTube buttons for me, and I will see you next time. I love you so much. Bye. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Can you say bye? Wave. Wave. Or bark. I'll see you guys next time.